How's it going, guys? I'm your host Korban Gaming. Welcome back to another very special Adventure Quest video, and for today's video we'll be looking at the AQZ token package tier list 2023. Okay, so all of the stuff that I present in this video are going to be my opinions. You can feel free to have opinions of your own. That is totally fine. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know down in the comment section below. You can also head over to my Discord server and have a chat with me and try to convince me otherwise. Or you can also do so in the comments. It is totally up to you. Let me know why, and maybe you might change my mind and I will pin a updated comment on stuff changes. But otherwise, I will this is purely my opinion and why I think which packages are going to be best. So the best packages will obviously go into S tier, the must buys, the first few priority buys, and the worst ones that you should never pick up are going to be in the D tier, which is the lowest tier. Okay, so the opinions that I present in this video are going to be accurate at the time of this recording, which is on 25th September 2023. So any future changes that are made to the packages or to how this whole thing works in general, it is going to change the rankings. Obviously, I highly recommend everyone, before you actually buy any package, to go ahead and ask again whether or not the packages are good before you go ahead and make the purchase, because stuff can change when we have weekly updates for the game. So let us go ahead and get started with the first one, Frostwalker Secret. Okay, how I'm going to rank this is according to their usability. I will not be factoring in their art, but I will be factoring in their price. So expensive packages are going to need to do more if they want to be at the top, whereas the cheaper packages, I can let it go if they are not as good. Okay, they might still get a top tier. Alright, so first one we have Frostwalker Secret. It's a Mastercraft range 20 proc ice bowl. Has a chance to freeze for 1 turn. And when used with the Frostwalker armor and shield, freeze rate is tripled to base. Okay, this one, I guess. Okay, the set bonus when used in Frostskill's Legacy Bow attacks deal 1.25 times damage and receive a damage bonus as if it were a 20 proc weapon instead of a 100 proc with a 20% special. Now, this one is a bit of an odd one because it does have synergy with one of the free Mastercraft sets inside of the game, and they never really made more of these sort of similar style items. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's not very popular. Freeze is a stun mechanic that also combines a little bit of round. If you got so what it does is it raises the monster's ice resist or fire resist up to a maximum of 200% of the monster's ice resist. So yeah, that is what it does. Combining with a stun, freeze I think is not that useful inside of the game, or stun effects in general, and it's also not a 100% chance to stun. On top of that, it's also based off your number of hits, but if you're using it with the full set, it is triple. And for rangers, this is actually a decent bow. So you know what, for the price point, considering this is only 2,500 tokens, which is 995 USD, pretty cheap, I am actually going to give this a C tier. Okay, C tier because you need to couple it with the Frost Scale armor and shield, which from what I can remember are not very useful items, okay, in order for the freeze rate to be triple. But I don't think it is completely useless. Maybe if you have nothing else to buy, you can go ahead and get this. And only if you are a ranger. If you're not a ranger, complete skip. Hydro Blade Shield. You can swap between fire and water. Resist, and it toggles it's only minus 25% at max level. So this is obviously outclassed by all of the other shields that we have right now, because right now the standard is going to be minus 26%. So minus 25% just isn't going to cut it. But that being said, I don't really remember us having any other fire and water compression shield, but we do have many other compression shields nowadays, even triple compression shields. So this one unfortunately is going to be a D tier. It used to be very good back in the days, but right now it's just not great. Next up we have War Totem. It's a Mastercraft water miscellaneous item. So it's minus 10% water resist. So this is based off the old standard, which is very nice, and increases intellect by 35 at 150, which is not a lot because now the standard for stat boost is going to be 50. Okay, it comes with 2 harm spells. Both spells damage enemy MP, switching to HP if MP is 0. While damaging MP, it deals 1.5 times damage. The first spell passively casts while a miscellaneous item is equipped, causes 105 MP and deals 10% of the damage of a standard spell. And the second one, you have to click on it in order to activate it. While it's equipped, it causes 490 SP, deals 50% standard spell damage, and heals your MP equal to the true damage dealt, which means it's limited by the mob's MP or HP. If this second spell is used, then spell 1 is not cast on that turn. This one, damaging enemy MP is a very gimmicky way of playing the battle nowadays, and not a lot of enemies actually use their MP bar, so this is actually not great. Even though it's based off the old minus 10% resist, I don't think this is actually worth the money, so I'm going to give it D tier. Next we have Zealot's Rev. It's a Mastercraft melee range magic 0 proc light sword spear staff. You take extra 10.71% damage or 8.035% in magic, but you deal extra 15% damage. In the melee form and range form, you get in the melee form, you get 1.5 times Lucky Strike damage. In the range form, you get 1.5 times Lucky Strike rate. And in the magic form, you get 1.225 times Lucky Strike damage and rate. Okay, so this is for the best light weapon in the game in terms of pure damage, but for other users, I would say Exalted Unity is slightly better. That being said, this is only a $10 package, which is super duper cheap, and it's not too shabby, even though pure damage really isn't everything nowadays. But if you want the best damaging light weapon, this is still the go-to choice. So for the price point and for its position, I would say this is worth, this is going to be an S tier. Alright. Next up, we have the Paladin Avenger. It's a Mastercraft melee range magic 0 proc light hammer and uses a charge system. Each time you attack an undead enemy, you gain 1 charge or 0.5 charges if magic. Can hold up to 50 charges at once. You can spend 20 charges for 25% light empowerment for 4 turns. Magic weapons receive 0.75 times of this boost, and spells receive half of this boost. This effect is quick cast. Okay, it being quick cast is kind of nice, but I don't really like charging things, and on top of that, you can only charge it versus undead enemies, so this is going to be a D tier. Necromancer Apprentice, Mastercraft melee range magic 0 proc darkness dagger, scythe plus polearm staff. Uses a charge system, so it's exactly the same but as the Paladin Avenger stuff, but it only gains charges when you fight a paladin or armor enemy. This, in my opinion, is even rarer than undead enemies inside of the game, in my opinion, and instead of light empowerment, you gain darkness empowerment. So yeah, same tier, D tier. Next, moving on to the 6,000 Z token packages. What is this first one? Amazonian Ruler. Okay, Amazonian Ruler, my god, this is pretty crap, right? Let me just check. You can swap between water and light. Yup, just a compression weapon, not worth the money at all. Next up, the Cockatoo Cannoneer. You seek between fire and wind damage, nothing special, D tier. Laser Blazer. Okay, so this got a recent update. Okay, it's a Mastercraft fully defensive energy armor. Your blocking, you get pretty high blocking. You take 1 times damage instead of the 0.8 times damage in exchange for 15 MRM. You get a energy spell type skill that has a sort of like a mini game built in. Okay, Elicom increases damage. If you align the mirrors upwards, the skill does nothing. Okay, if you align it towards the player, you take damage equal to 25% of the skill's damage. And if you align it towards the monster, the attack becomes auto hit with no penalty. This is actually pretty decent for players who are beast masters. Okay, weapon attacks also take minus 25% melee damage and give you a charisma buff. Okay, the charisma buff is, let me just double check here, 51.15. Okay, bow attacks get 1.25 times the buff. Okay, so this one is actually decent if you're a fully defensive beast ranger and you want to play dodge. It's not bad after the update, but is it the best for dodging? I don't really think so. Some people think it's good. I think it's not that great, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. I don't think it's the worst item on the list though. So yeah, it's still not bad. Luminous Fire Rooster seeks between fire and light damage. Again, another crap item. Grand Walk. Sabertooth Grand Walk Mastercraft Earth Pack can toggle between 3 modes. One is a regular damage mode. One is a Elival mode, attempts to inflict Elival, Earth Elival while dealing only half damage, and inflicts with Charisma Overlap versus Monsters Endurance Overlap. And last but not least, there's a Choke mode, deals half damage, attempts to inflict Choke. Okay, Choke and Elival, this is actually a pretty good combination because you get both offense and defense. Okay, but your Wuza exists. Wuza does sleep, which is not that useful, and it also does Elibound, which is really useful. So the fact that you can get a free pet, even though it's seasonal, that does Elibound, I think, you know, this kind of makes Sabertooth Grand Walk not very useful. On top of that, you can also power up your Wuza's Elibound attack with the Zadi Max mode. So this one, considering it's a token package, I would say it is not worth picking up, so it's going into the D tier. On its own though, okay, you know what, on its own I actually say it's decent. Yeah, but Wuza exists, so I'm going to give it C. Yeah, I think I will give it C tier. I don't think it's a complete D. Okay. No, is it deserving of a B? No, okay, I'll put it at C for now. Next up, your Spirit Miscellaneous items. So, your Spirit Miscellaneous items, you take half damage for the element, and you gain plus 50 stat, okay, depending on which misc you pick. Okay, each miscellaneous item increases your gold earned and gold cap by 10%. And if it lines up within that specific month, you get extra 25% boost if it's in your active inventory. So you can have up to a maximum of 8 of these inside of your active inventory to get like on top of that, 70% plus another 25%. If one of them is in their respective month, you can get up to a maximum of 95% extra gold earned per battle, as well as 95% extra gold cap. So this is really a whales item. If you want to be like top tier in the gold contest for some reason, you can go ahead and pick this up. But I would say generally it's not really a useful item, and the only reason why you want to buy this is to like maximize your gold farming. But do you need this to be able to score, you know, the top spot in the gold contest? No, you don't need this at all. You just need to farm diligently every day. I mean, even with this, you should be farming diligently every day. Okay, on top of that, you also need to be active during the contest, as well as have like 10 other max level characters, and you really don't need this in my opinion. So I would say this is actually a D tier, because apart from gold farming, it doesn't serve any other purpose. Next up, Tinkerer. Mastercraft fully offensive fire energy armor. Comes with 2 skills. One is a energy skill, normal attack skill, deals either range or magic damage. And the second one is a fire normal attack skill, deals either range or magic damage. So for warriors, this is useless. This is a very old item, and is one of the few old items to have like a double Mastercraft effect. So it was very good back in the day, but right now it is not that fantastic anymore. Unfortunately, it's still a decent compression armor, and you still get 2 powerful skills if you're like a fully offensive ranger or mage. So I would say C tier. Not completely useless, but not super useful either. Next up, we have your Titan's Tide. It's the Mastercraft Water set. Okay, it has 3 pieces. Titan's Tide is a Mastercraft melee magic 0 proc water sword. If a weapon attack connects, the next hit deals extra 5.94% damage. That's pretty crap considering you have, you know, regular damage boost items that gives you almost triple the amount. And it there is also some spells. Okay, Mastercraft Water spell. There's an MP and SP version. The wave uses intellect, and slam uses strength, deals minus 29.75% damage, attempts to inflict daze, so this is obviously crap. Overall, not worth it. Sacred Chicken is a wind pet that has a 10% chance to heal the player's HP equal to 42.5% of the standard pet damage on attack. Not very good. I'm going to give it D tier. Okay, because it's only a small chance to heal, not a guaranteed chance to heal. If you want to heal, make sure your pet can heal. You don't want any RNG with that. Okay, so D tier. Next we have Bloodthorn set. Okay, so this again used to be best Earth set back in the day, way back in the day, but nowadays it's just not very good anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, for the, you can basically inflict bleed, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, so the sword is a 0 proc Earth sword melee. Okay, comes with a built-in skill, deals minus 25% damage, attempt to inflict power 0.5 bleed, which is not very strong. And as for the shield, you deal harm damage equal every time you block an attack, okay, at the start of your turn. If used with the full set, the damage is double, okay. Yeah, nowadays just not very good. We have better bleed items also, so yeah, this is going to the D tier. Shield Cake. Shield Cake, one of the best shields. No, not one of the best. It is the best shield in the entire game, hands down. Okay, so for the fire, water, and light versions, they are just clones of each other. You gain 1 charge passively, but you can also spend a turn to gain an additional 20 charges. 100 charge. You have a maximum of 112 charges, and you can only gain charges if the enemy is within 15 levels of the shield. The charges are tracked separately per shield and comes with a few quick cast skills that consumes charges. So for 5 charges, you can either reduce damage by 51. At level 150, you can gain a 0.821 times Ellie Shield effect. Okay, the Ellie Shield is not Omni Ellie Shield, it's specific to the element of the Shield Cake. For 10 charges, you can imbue your weapon with the element of the Shield Cake. You can gain a Charisma boost of 160 at level 150, or you can gain 5 times hyper crit, and at 28 charges you get celerity for everything on your side of the field. This is guaranteed celerity, you don't need a save. For the darkness version of the shield cake, this is a little bit different. Okay, for 3 charges you get 12.75 to your BTH. This is supposed to be only specific to darkness, but because they can't really code BTH for a specific element yet, so you're actually getting a general BTH boost instead, which makes this very good. 3 charges is super duper cheap as well. For 5 charges, you get 25% Darkness Ellie and Power. 10 charges, you get Darkness Imbue, Charisma Boost of 5 times Hyper Crit, same as the other shields. And at 28 charges, you gain full Celerity. So this is undoubtedly one of the best Z tokens packages in the game, hands down, because the shield is best in slot, regardless of whichever element it is. Now, the next question people are going to ask me is, which element should I prioritize or should I get first? And to that, my answer is probably darkness. Okay, because for rangers, not rangers. Okay, actually, yeah, wait, rangers, I don't really know much about rangers, I'm sorry, but for mages and hybrids, darkness should be your number 1 pick, because there are no good darkness shields for mages and hybrids. Okay, if you're a warrior, you have your Eclipse Dragonlord's Will. So for warriors, maybe you can consider picking up something else, like the water one for warriors. Yeah, for mages, I think you can skip light, because for light you already have Crystal Mana Defender, which is really good. Fire is also a really good pickup in my opinion, because fire, you do have a good general use shield in Titan's Fall, which is even better if you have Dodge Slash somewhere. But if you're not playing Dodge Slash, the Titan's Fall is generally a good shield for all builds regardless. So in my opinion, I would prioritize probably darkness. Okay, if you're not a warrior. I will prioritize water if you're not a mage, and I will prioritize light as well if you're not a mage. And then fire, I will also prioritize that if you are a warrior. Fire is also a good pickup. So yeah, if you're a mage, then I would say, yeah, go for darkness first, I guess. Okay, so that's my recommendations. I will probably go in this order for general use. Okay, darkness, then fire, then water, then last but not least we have light. Okay, light and water is about the same. Yeah. Alright, next up we have your, is this the Dynashini Katana? Yeah, okay, so this is a 20 proc water sword. If you attack with this weapon, has a chance to inflict a power 0.25 times bleed. It used to be best water weapon way back in the days of Ubear, Zero Phantom, Zero. Yeah, best water weapon, but nowadays it's just garbage, so stick it in the trash bin, don't get this. Gambler's Blade. This got a recent update, but it's still crap. One of the worst packages in the entire game. So it's a Mastercraft melee range magic 20 proc like sword spear. Okay, special deals 1.25 times damage, and it has 5 different specials, all with the same chance of occurring when a proc happens. So first one is backlash. Okay, this hit cannot miss. Okay, second one is damage, you deal an additional 1.54 times damage. Third one is healing, you heal the player and you deal 1.31 times damage. Fourth one is choke, attempts to inflict a 53.23% choke or 39.32% or 39.92% magic for number of turns based on number of hits. This has minus 20 save bonus. Okay, and inflicts with V stat overlap versus monsters charisma overlap. And the last one is poison, attempt to inflict a power 6.61 times poison depending on your number of hits landed. Okay, or 4.96 if it's magic. Light poison for 5 turns. minus 20 save bonus, V-stat overlap versus monsters, endurance overlap. Because of how random each effect is, you don't know which one you're getting. So yeah, this is just no good. I mean, it's part of the name, right? I don't think they can change this item to actually be good if you want to keep the name and the thematics of this item, because you're supposed to be gambling with it, and because you're gambling with it, it makes it crap. Next, we have your HP and MP leeches. So these are separate items. Okay, you can carry either a HP leech or MP leech or both. They are not compression gas. So HP leech will deal damage and heal your HP. MP leech will heal your MP and deal damage. Yeah, that is basically it. Okay, this has been outclassed by your jelly pet as well as your mosquito pet and your Fey Wanderer pet. So if you have any of those, or you plan on getting any of those, in fact, this is like a what? 7,500. This is like a $24.95 package, $25 package basically. If you're spending $25 on tokens, just go ahead and open golden gift boxes and get the mosquito pet instead. Why even bother getting this? Mosquito pet compresses all 3 healings inside of one pet, so you don't have to waste more than 1 slot on your healing. And on top of that, it gets boosted quite heavily through a lot of other stuff. So yeah, really no reason to get this at all D tier. 9 mass. Okay, this one you can just swap between Ice and Darkness, nothing special. Scarecrow armor, this one, Scarecrow is a fully defensive earth armor with Ice and Darkness secondaries. It has a skill, wind spell type skill, deals minus 35% damage. Alicom increase skill damage and attempts to inflict minus 25 blind, assuming your enemy is 100% wind resist for number of turns based on number of hits. 0 save bonus, player dexterity overlap versus monsters dexterity overlap. So obviously something for rangers or for people who want to play some sort of dodge slash defense build. I think it's crap, so D tier. Next up, this is outclassed by like your ghost costume and all that. So yeah, don't get this. This is, I believe this is the Wukong Armory, is it? Let me just double check. This is Searing Brand. Sorry, Searing Brand. Okay, Searing Brand, what it does is it swaps between fire and energy. Yup, piece of crap. Timekeeper Staff, very old package item. You have a small chance, okay, based on enemies like resist, to grant celerity to your entire side of the field. The chance is like 6%, and like if you're not using a pet, and like 4% if you're using a pet. Yeah, this is garbage, absolute garbage. Okay, Blood Contract, strongest damage boost item inside of the whole game, but right now with the current meta whereby you have so many damage caps and all that, damage just isn't everything anymore, and on top of that you also take increased damage, which generally isn't a big deal in my opinion. So yeah, this has really fallen off quite a bit. I think in today's meta it's only deserving of a B tier, so that's what I'm going to give it. Next up we have your, what is this, Arsenal of Wukong. Okay, this one, I think it's a crap item as well. Yeah, you get 1.5 times lucky strike rate on the weapons. This is a D tier. For a $25 package, it's got to be way better. So yeah, just no. Next up, moving on to your 12,000 Z token package, you have your buff spells, and the buff spells, I think they are really good nowadays, because not only does buffing your stats help with your status infliction, it helps with your BTH, but it also helps with your damage. So it helps with a whole bunch of stuff, and I think it is definitely S tier, top tier package to pick up. Arcane M obviously for mages, Buffalot for warriors, and Una Poka for beastmasters. Okay, next up we have your Shogun and Anatsu Pet and Gas. Shogun and Anatsu Pet and Gas, I think Shogun and Anatsu Pet and Gas is, oh wait, no, these are still 7,500. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, not 12,000 yet. Okay, Shogun and Natsu Pet and Gas, they got updated recently. I don't think the update changed much. They are still one of the best fire and darkness contract gases inside of the entire game, whether it's if you're talking about pure damage. They also have plenty of hits, so this is actually quite nice for beastmasters, and I think I would rank this, I'll rank this S tier honestly, because you get 2 elements in one, you get plenty of hits, gold is basically a non-issue at max level. So yeah, beastmasters, I highly recommend this guess. Your wedding cake pet, It also does a whole bunch of stuff, but I think this is overlooked a lot because most people would rather get the shield cake, and the shield cake doesn't really stack that well with this royal wedding cake pet with the same buffs. Okay, so you passively gain 1 charge per turn, can sacrifice its attack to gain additional 20 charges, can hold up to 100 charges, and for 10 charges you can get HP healing. Okay, it's 50% of standard pet damage. This is crap. You can also get 12 defense boost. This is pretty good if you want to play a dodge build. You can also get a 8.57 times darkness ally shield, which is not very good, but you know, better than nothing. For 20 charges, you can get 126 strength boost or 126 intellect. This does not stack very well with your shield cake, so it's just something to keep in mind. But on its own, if you don't have shield cake, this is actually a really good pet to pick up. And for 25 charges, you get full celerity on your entire side of the field. So you can actually combo this with shield cake. You can use celerity from shield cake on 1 turn, and then you can use celerity from your cake pet for on the 2nd turn, something like that. So you can basically full charge both of these items and have like a whole bunch of free celerity turns. So actually I think this is actually really good on its own. I do not know why more people do not use this pet, and the numbers that I mentioned are based off max charisma, which is 250 charisma. If you don't have 250 charisma, if you only have 0 charisma, then you only get 6 MRM for the death boost, 0.929 times for the ally shield, 63 strength boost, and 63 intellect boost. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not very good without charisma, but I think the stat boosters are still useful even without any charisma. Okay, next, I think we can finally move on to 12,000, right? 12,000, Amethyst Armaments. Oh my god, this is... it has 2 pieces, the weapon, Mastercraft melee range magic, 0 proc, water X, X polearm, and X. Okay, deals minus 25% damage after attacking with this weapon. For melee and range mode, you heal your HP equal to 25.5% expected player damage. Not actual damage dealt, so the healing is crap. For magic, you heal the MP equal to 28.7% expected player damage, and the full set bonus, you take minus 3.57% damage. For the shield, is a Mastercraft water shield. You can click the shield to remove poisons. First use is free, subsequent use causes 48 SP. Yeah, this is garbage. Okay, if it was based off your true damage, this might have been bumped up slightly higher, but expected damage is just rubbish. And the shield, like I keep mentioning, I think cleanse effects are just not very useful nowadays because we don't really have any bosses inflict any threatening dot effects on us to my knowledge. So I think this is not very good, and this cleanse only applies to poisons. Okay, so if you get burned or some other dot effect, this is not going to work. Crystal Pyre set, this one you can toggle between fire and ice. Oh my god, so bad. Next, Cyber Assassin is a fully offensive energy armor, flat blocking, has 20% chance to do a paralyzing attack. Yeah, not very good, only a very low chance, and it's only if you use the regular attack. So this is really for warriors. Yeah, just not very good. Next, we have your Demon Warrior. It's a fully offensive fire darkness compression armor, and it comes with a darkness spell type skill that deals either range or magic damage. Elicom increases skill damage. I think it's bad. You know, we have plenty of compression armors that are free nowadays, and the skill really doesn't even do anything special. So yeah, no good. Next up, Doom Knight Armaments. The weapon is a Mastercraft melee magic 0 proc darkness sword. Triggers versus undead to deal extra 10% damage and calculates damage as if this weapon was attacking the monster's highest resist. Honestly, not that great. And for the shield, is a Mastercraft darkness shield. Okay, and after being attacked, you deal harm damage equal to number of hits that you block, and when used with the blade, the damage is increased by 1.5 times. Still kind of bad because you can only use this against undead. You can combo it with the Ebony Sepulchre form and turn everything undead to get this, but in my opinion, I think that's not worth. Next, this is Elaters, right? Elaters set. Okay, it's a Earth Energy set. Weapon, toggle between Earth and Energy. When used with the shield, you do extra 5% damage. The shield, you can toggle between Earth and Energy, and max level is only minus 25%. Garbage. Next up, Flarios is a Mastercraft Fire Pet. Toggle between regular damage mode as well as a control mode. So control mode is based off the enemy's fire resist. I do not think stuns are very good, so I'm going to give it D tier. Okay, Glass Cannon is the strongest light and earth pet in the game in terms of pure damage. And your monsters, it deals 1.22 times damage, but monster deals 1.057 times damage to compensate. And on top of that, it also compress 2 elements, but in my opinion, pure damage alone is just not going to cut it, and it also doesn't have a lot of hits. So for this reason alone, I think as a pet, I think I can only give it a B tier at best. Yeah. Shogun and Satsu is getting higher because it offsets a lot of the cost with gold, and gold is really insignificant. It also gets a larger boost compared to Glass Cannon, and it also has more hits. That's why I rank Shogun and Satsu higher. If you guys are wondering why, you know, both damage compression, damage pets best in slot, but you know, compression, but they are 2 tiers apart. That's the reason why. Okay, good brand and good scales. Oh my. This one, the weapon deals 5% extra 5% damage versus numb foes, and after attacking, you have a small chance to inflict numb for 2 turns. Numb is basically minus 150 times monster's ice resist. Okay, minus 150 dexterity. So the monster has 100% ice resist. You're inflicting minus 150 dexterity to the monster. Now, dexterity actually does nothing for the monster nowadays, so this is technically a useless effect. If you use it with the shield, the numb duration is doubled to 4 turns and deal extra 10% damage to numb foes instead of plus 5%. Okay, the shield is an ice shield, attempts to inflict ice burn for 1 turn, inflict V-stat overlap versus monsters endurance overlap. Yeah, they really need to update some of these packages, just garbage. Excuse me. This one, this is Iron Blue. Weapons, okay, you have a small chance to inflict death loss, and when used with the shield, the chance to inflict death loss is doubled. For the shield, you take minus 7.14% damage if enemy has death loss. When used with the hammer, you instead take minus 10.71% damage. This is really bad because you already have shields that does this without needing a freaking death loss status on the foe to trigger the effect. So D tier. Next we have your I believe this is a burst spell, Legion's Violence. So this is an Ice/Darkness Earth spell. It comes in 3 forms nowadays. You get an overcharge form, a standard spell, as well as an efficient spell. Neither of them, I do not really think it matters whether obviously spells will be best used by mages, but the fact that they gave us a SP and a MP version now means that even if you're a warrior or a ranger, you can probably use this as well, though probably you don't want to do that. Legion's Violence compress ice and darkness. I don't think this is great because Destruction Burst is free and that compresses fire and dark. Cycerus Booth compresses water and energy, and I think this is the best one because Cycerus Booth has 4 hits as opposed to the other spells which only has 3 hits. Arctic Tornado is ice and wind, Creation Burst is earth and light, and Volcanic Lightning is fire and energy. I think if you're talking about pure damage, they are still best in slot for mages, and mages really like to nuke, so overcharged versions of these spells are actually pretty good. For my recommendation, I would recommend getting Cycerus Booth as the first one, and then Arctic Tornado and Creation Burst are pretty much equal. Legion's Violence and Volcanic Lightning I would skip because you have fire and darkness compressed inside of Destruction Burst, which is free and doesn't cost a package, so yeah. Next up, we have the Megatherial Axe and Shield. So this is based off God of War for those of you guys that don't know. Okay, let's look at what this does again. I don't even remember. 2 pieces. The weapon builds rage passive over a login session. So depending on how many turns you have held this weapon, you can hold up to 2,500 rage, and you deal extra damage, okay, based off how much rage you have. So the max damage boost you can get out of this is what? 10%. Rage is reset upon logging out. Stop gaining rage if enemy is below 10 levels of the weapon. In the full set bonus, the shield has a chance to increase rage gain by 50%. Oh my god. And the shield is an ice shield. Attempts to inflict choke for 3 turns. Yeah, and choke potency is increased to 62.25% if used with the weapon. Oh my god, only 10%? I can't believe I'm reading this right. Yeah, this is just straight up garbage. Don't ever get this. Paramount. Sword and shield. The weapon swaps between wind and water when used with the shield. The shield special gains additional effects based on element. So in water element, attempts to inflict choke. In wind element, attempts to inflict buffet, which is minus 90 to dex. Man, they have a lot of different dex reducing statuses, all named differently, but they are all useless nowadays. Okay, and the shield on its own, yeah, 5% chance to reduce damage taken by 50% for a turn. So this is a bit similar to the Teledosian shield, but 5% chance? Come on, seriously? Garbage. Okay. Next we have your superior knowledge spell. Deals extra 10% damage if enemy has less than or equals to 0 intellect. Oh my god. So bad. Only 10% damage boost. Why even use this? Synectic Shock. Okay, this is a standard energy damage spell as well as a gas. None of which are very good. D tier. Next we have Tribal Shaman. Used to be very good back in the day. But nowadays it's just not that great anymore. So what this does is it compresses 3 skills. First skill gives you 25% damage boost for 4 turns. It's not quick cast. Second skill gives you BTH, and then the third skill is quick cast, but the third skill has a small chance to inflict fear every time you attack. I don't think this is really good. Okay, back in the days, yes, it was good, but nowadays we just have way better stuff. So yeah, you do have secondary to fire, which is quite nice, but I don't think it's completely useless. I just don't think it's very good anymore. So I'm going to give this a C tier. Alright, next up we have your volcanic. What's this? Volcanic lightning? Yeah, I have no idea why I put another one of these here. Okay, but volcanic lightning in the same tier as your burst spells. Volcanic lightning I think has more hits. I never found any info subs anywhere or any information on this. So if anyone has this item, please let me know how many hits it is. Nonetheless, I do not think this is a priority pickup because volcanic lightning compresses fire and energy. And for fire, like I mentioned earlier, you already have destruction burst, which is free. So do not get this. Alright, Decimator. Okay, Decimator, it comes with a skill, and this used to be the best darkness armor. I still think it's a very good darkness armor nowadays. I think it's generally looked down upon nowadays. I don't know why, but I still think it's very strong. So it comes with a skill, and the skill can reduce your enemy's endurance by up to 50. So this is fantastic for a finishing attack, or you know, if you want to lower your foe's endurance and basically nuke and overcome the damage cap. So this inflicts fragile and it's not permanent, but I still think it's actually a really good skill. Okay, and for this the armor I think gets a B tier. I don't think it's A tier anymore, but I don't think it's weak either. It's also quite unique. Sure, you have Shinyaro form now, but Shinyaro form doesn't really defend well against any element, and the fragile skill from Shinyaro form also only lasts 1 turn. This one lasts more turns. Okay, no wait, this also only lasts 1 turn. What? I thought this lasted more turns. Did I remember wrongly? Maybe I remembered wrongly. Ooh, okay, so this only lasts 1 turn. Sorry, I remember wrongly. But yeah, nonetheless, I still think it's actually decent. Not a priority pickup, but you know, decent. Next up, your burst spells again. So I'm just gonna put this here. Yep. Oh, okay. Since I have different variants of them, I think I should just rank them. Okay. This one I think C because destruction burst. I don't think it's D because some people might still want it, but yeah. Okay, Shadowrun armaments. I got this recently but didn't really find much use out of it. I know some people have came up with some crazy strategies like Brady Simmons, but you know, it's not really my thing. The weapon is a Mastercraft melee range magic 0 proc darkness X. You pay Mastercraft -6 MRM for attacks with this weapon to have a chance to inflict Spirit Rend, which is light freeze, for 1 turn. So freeze effects not that great. If used with the shield, the infliction rate is increased to 22.65% for melee and range and 16.99% for magic. Not very high infliction rate, as you guys can see here. But I think the good thing about this package is really the shield. It's a Mastercraft Darkness Shield. Comes with a quick cast skill that applies a power 2.25 times HP regen effect for 4 turns, which means you can keep stacking this and you can keep quick casting this for basically a super powerful regen effect as long as you have enough SP. So the good part about this package is the shield, but is the shield alone worth 35 bucks? I don't know about that. I'm only gonna give it C tier. Okay, it's not like the skill is free. Sure, it's quick cast and you can spam it, but yeah, I think it's only C tier. You know, not many people play regen. Maybe it's my bias against regen. I don't know, but I just think it's not fantastic. You know, personal opinion. Okay. Next up, Arena's Lance. They recently updated this as well, and I think they made it worse. In my opinion, it's only freaking 2 hits now. What the heck am I gonna do with 2 hits? So, Arena's Lance, it compressed a wind armor inside of it. The wind armor is technically has a good earth resistance as well, so it defends against both earth and wind, which is nice because they're opposite elements, but at the same time, they kind of turn the skills into crap. The first skill locks normal attacks to wind, Elecom increase normal attack damage, and the second one, overcharge wind weapon based skill, yeah, follows weapon damage type. I hate how they freaking massacred this armor, this weapon in general. C tier. Okay, brackish blade, what does this do again? Brackish blade. 10 proc melee magic sword, 6 between wind and water, special deals minus 9% damage, attempts to inflict disease. So disease prevents HP, MP and SP healing up to a given amount. But yeah, this is generally not very good. D tier. Next up we have your Burpsy. Okay, Burpsy's package. There's 2 items. First is a energy miscellaneous item. Reduce energy damage taken 0.5 times, so it's based on modern standards, and boosts your luck by 50. Comes with 2 quick cast skill. Neither does damage, and only one can be used each turn. The first skill causes 392 SP, attempts to inflict choke for 4 turns, and the second skill causes 333 SP and attempts to inflict control. So the control one is useless, but the choke one is actually decent because it's actually quick cast, and both effects are resisted with minus 20 save bonus, so you can inflict them easier. And for the weapon, it's a melee range magic, 20 proc, 100 proc with 20 proc. Oh my god, I'm not gonna read through that. Effect, it deals minus 40% damage and pays 6 MRM, 12 in magic, and attempts to inflict energy poison for 4 turns. You take minus 5.36% damage from poison enemies, and if used with the miscellaneous item, you instead take minus 10.71% damage from poison enemies. The weapon is kind of crap. The miscellaneous item, only the choke mode is kind of useful because it's quick cast, but you do have other ways of quick cast to reduce your enemy's damage, like your eddy shield, like your panic. So is this actually worth like 30, is this 35 bucks? No, this isn't even 35 bucks. This is like 50 bucks. Is this worth 50 bucks? I'm gonna say no. So because of the price, I'm going to give it D tier. This was like 25 bucks or lower. I think the miscellaneous item alone might have been worth, but you know, this is just crap. Okay, now specific elemental boosters. You're talking about your Chili Pet, your Migoi Pet, Mog Light Knot, Moglicon, Moglinus, Necromoglin, Ramsey, Squee. Yeah, I think that's all. Okay, so talking about your specific elemental booster pets, if you want to get the highest damage possible, then this is what you need. But like I said, damage really isn't everything nowadays. So I would say this is good for warring. If you want to max out your energy damage, but you know, at max momentum, this is not really useful anymore. But you know, for people who like big damage numbers, this is still best in stock for damage. But you know, because damage isn't everything nowadays, and because this is only for a specific element, that means that if you want to cover all 8 elements, you have to buy the package 8 times. That's like 400 USD. Crazy amount of money. And also you have to spend freaking you have to take up all 8 slots if you want to cover all elements. So this only gets an A tier from me. Still a decent pickup, but I wouldn't say it's a priority pickup by any means. Alright, next burning question. If you really want to pick this up, what elements do you go for? So this is the best damage booster for the specific element. So obviously you want to go for elements that give you the biggest boost, right? Okay, number 1, fire, which is the Ramsey pet, because you have Fire Dragon Talon. Okay, number 2, Mog Light Knot, which is energy. Okay, and why? Because you have your granddaddy's great sword nowadays, and for warring you are using HCV, so energy is very useful. And last but not least, Chili, but only if you have the perma rare Frost Veil Pass weapons that lets you quick cast inflict ally round. Okay, so these are the only 3 elements I would consider if you really want to get this. But if you're not a Mega Whale, I would highly recommend everyone to not pick this up and pick up the general booster instead, which I'll go through in a bit. Alright, next up we have your, what is this? The dragon, right? Dragon mount, whatever the heck this is called. Let me check. Dragon Rider mount. Okay, fully offensive earth armor. Can shift between fully offensive and fully defensive lean. Fully offensive deals extra 5% damage. Fully defensive enemies lose 3 BTH. Why the heck is this package even here? Garbage. Next, you have your, this is Nightmare something rider, right? Ghost Rider. What's it called? Can't remember the name. Grave Rider, yeah, Grave Rider. So, fully offensive ice armor. Mounted is a standard armor. Unmounted, you lock your attacks to ice. Elicom increases normal attack. Nowadays, donation sets are moving in this direction, okay, and donation sets do a lot more than this. But for pure damage and just locking it, you also have a lot of imbues nowadays, so I would say it's really not that good anymore. I'm gonna give it D tier because it's really nothing special. Griffin Pet. Okay, so Griffin Pet, you can inflict blind as well as a regular wind attack, I believe. Just double check. Yeah, damage mode and a blind mode. The blind is based on monsters wind resist, not very good. D tier. Horn of Terrasu. So compress the ice armor and then you can transform into the Terrasu armor. Terrasu armor is also not that good anymore nowadays. It's decent back in the day, but nowadays it's just not really good. Okay, fully offensive ice armor, and you have the ice normal attack skill that deals either range or magic damage. Nothing special. D tier. Next up, your Tsunami Strike. Guardian Dragon Blade, 10 proc. Click on the weapon, equips you with the Tsunami Strike Guardian Dragon form. It's fully offensive water armor. It comes with a harm spell type skill that deals a percentage of the monster's max HP. Damage is floored at 1% and capped at 100% of their max HP. Elicom increases skill damage and it has partial scaling from your weapon main stat, and without main stat investment, total damage is halved. Stat scaling can increase final damage up to 110% of the regular damage. Because it's harm, I would say it is somewhat useful, so it's not completely useless. But you know, it really doesn't do anything special, so I'm only going to give it a C tier, purely because the element is harm. Alright, next up, your Light of Sun scale. It's a 20 proc weapon, has a fire as well as a light variant, and you can click on the weapon to equip a fully offensive fire armor with energy and light secondary, or a light armor with fire and energy secondary. It comes with a skill, which is either fire or light depending on which variant you have. It's a spell type skill, follows weapon damage type, and it seeks between fire and light. Elicom increase skill damage. Yeah, no good. Next, okay, this one, what is this item? Mace of Casto Silva. Okay, this one, I don't even remember what this does. 20 proc, compress a fully offensive earth armor and water and light secondaries, and it comes with earth spell type skill, follow weapon damage type. Yeah, standard skills just very bad nowadays. Next here we have more of Sinmore. I think this is the same thing. Let me see. So yeah, compresses a fully offensive energy armor. Comes with 2 skills. Oh wait, this is different. So the first skill, you can lock your normal attacks to energy, and then the second one is an overcharged energy weapon based skill. Follows weapon damage type. You pay extra 196 SP to deal extra 25% damage. Oh, so Elicom reduces SP cost, so 385 SP for melee and range, and 483 for magic at level 150. Nonetheless, I think it's still bad, not worth the $50. Next up, your Necrogon. Okay, Necrogon. There are 2 pieces. First up is a fully offensive darkness armor with ice and earth secondaries. It comes with a darkness spell type skill, follow weapon damage type, Elicom increase damage, nothing special. The second one is a quick cast skill that causes 294 SP to increase damage dealt in this armor by 25% for 3 turns. So a little bit similar to Tribal Shaman, except this is locked to the armor. On top of that, it's only 3 turns, as well as it being quick cast. Magic weapons receive 0.75 times this boost, as spells receive half the boost. Okay, the weapon has a 25% chance to reduce damage taken by 14.29%, and if used together, it has a chance to reduce damage the chance to reduce damage taken is doubled to 50%. Overall, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's still not very good. Sorry, D tier. Next up, we have your Plague Pig. Okay, Plague Pig is a 10 proc weapon. Special deals minus 12.5% damage and attempts to inflict a choke weakness for 5 turns. Oh, not even actual choke, but choke weakness. Interesting, which means you'll be able to inflict choke more easily. That's interesting. Okay, it compresses a fully offensive earth armor that comes with 2 skills. First one is a earth spell type skill, follow weapon damage type, Elicom increase skill damage, deals minus 50% damage and attempts to inflict choke. Okay, so I guess you want to wait for the weapon special to go off and then you use this skill. Very, very weird way. I wish the weapon skill was clickable. That would have made it even better. And then the second skill, earth spell type skill, follows weapon damage type, attempts to inflict earth burn. Yeah, another garbage package. Next up we have your, what is this, Scythe of Restil. Yeah, the Scythe of Restil. Let me check what this does. Okay, 20 proc is a fire weapon. Okay, so it compresses a fully offensive fire armor with energy and dark secondaries, and the armor has a fire weapon based skill. That's all. Oh my god. Alright, now moving on to your general damage boosters. Okay, so this Tenda boosters all range damage, Polala boosters all magic damage, and Dunamis boosters all melee damage. So this is better than the specific element boosters because you only need to sacrifice 1 slot, or you only need to buy 1 package in order to boost all the standard damage types. So I would say this is S tier because, you know, you can use this for any element. The boost might not be as big as the specific element, but you're saving like 7 slots to cover all 8 elements. I think that is way better. Okay, next you have your War Master Dragon Rider. It's a fully defensive fire armor with darkness secondary. You get 10 burn potents as a Mastercraft effect. You deal 10% damage if the enemy, extra 10% damage if the enemy is burning, minus 5% damage otherwise. You also pay 3 MRM for a skill compression. It has a fire spell type skill, follows your weapon type, deals minus 75% damage, attempts to inflict a power 5 fire burn for 6 turns, assuming you land all your hits. Power is 7.23 at level 150. Okay. 0 save bonus inflict with your main stat overlap versus monsters endurance overlap, and you have a toggle to change what resource the burn targets. So burning targets the HP, exhausting targets MP, and agonizing targets SP. So I think this is actually really nice that you can swap between 3 different burn modes. But the most useful one obviously is going to be the HP mode. The SP mode, if you're fighting something that, you know, nukes you very hard with the SP attack, then I guess the SP mode is useful in that regard. MP mode is pretty much useless for 99.9% of the monsters inside the game, so yeah, I think that's not very useful. Also comes with a toggle, so you pay 196 SP per turn to have your outgoing armor attacks deal 1.25 times damage instead of 0.8 times. This boost does not affect spells or wands. Upkeep is reduced by 29 for each resource that is currently burning, up to 59 SP at level 150. So if you have 2 burns, 2 different resource burns on the enemy, you can reduce the SP cost of this toggle by up to 59, which means that it will still cost over 100 SP at max level, and this is actually quite a large amount of SP to be paying. But overall, this package I think is interesting, but is it really useful? I think it's not super useful. The SP and MP burn mode is interesting for sure, and the burn isn't weak, by the way. The burn is pretty good, but for now, is it worthy of a B tier? I don't think so. I think it's C tier. Might be hovering on high C slash low B. I don't really know, but yeah, for now I'm going to give it C tier. Alright, next up we have your Griffin Rider Mount Armor. Okay, fully offensive wind armor, and then you, two modes. One is a standard mode. Second mode, you can lock your attacks to win. Again, I think this is D, same as your Grave Rider. Alright, El Muchacho. This is actually one of the best weapons for a ranger build, in my opinion. So it's a Mastercraft range magic gun. And it comes with a few modes. First is a normal mode, dealing extra 5% damage. Next, you have armor piercing mode, deals minus 35% damage, minus 26.25% if magic. Attempt to inflict minus 17 or minus 12.75 in magic death loss for number of turns based on number of hits. 0 save bonus. Inflict main stat overlap versus monsters dexterity overlap. Oh, they now have a magic version, so mages can use this too, not just rangers. Okay, flamethrower mode, deals reduced damage, attempts to inflict a power 2, fire burn, or 1.5 in magic for number of turns based on number of hits. 0 save bonus, inflict main stat overlap versus monsters dexterity overlap. Mortar mode, deals reduced damage, attempts to inflict daze. Okay, daze, this is not very good. And then last but not least, shield mode, deals reduced damage on attack, reduce the monster's BTH by 12 or 9 if magic. Okay, so this does a whole bunch of stuff. Not particularly good at any one thing, but I still think this is a really good like compression weapon for doing a lot of different things for both a mage and a ranger. So you get death loss, you get a stun, you get a burn, and you get reduced monster, you get a blind as well. So yeah, overall pretty decent weapon, A tier. Next we have your this is, what is this called? Oh my god, Devouring Scythe. Devouring Scythe. Okay, so this one 10 proc, and you can click on it to equip the Galleon's Frigid Hatred Armor, which is a fully offensive ice armor. Alright, the weapon has a special that deals reduced damage to inflict cold weakness for 5 turns. Okay, so the Galleon Armor, you pay 3 MRM to reduce incoming harm damage by 50%. So it's one of the few armors in the game that reduces harm damage. Not that we have a lot of monsters that do harm damage, but for those that do, this is quite a neat armor to use against them. Comes with 2 skills. First skill, Ice Spell type skill, follows weapon damage type, deals minus 49.41% damage, attempts to inflict BTH and minus BTH and minus MRM cold status until the monster makes a save. So if you land all hits, this is like, I think it was 20 or 30, I can't remember, really crazy amount. Okay, and then the second skill is an ice weapon based skill, follows weapon damage type, Elicom reduced SP cost, so it's only 124 SP for melee or range and 222 SP for magic. Consumes all your cold status to deal more damage, and I'm not sure if there's a cap for this, but that's not important because the cold status from the first skill is already super duper strong. So this one I think is a top tier package. If you ask me, I also did a showcase video on it. You guys can go ahead and check it out here if you want to. So yeah, this package, I think, oh man, am I going to give this S tier? I think I have to give this S tier. Yeah, I think Frigid Devouring Scythe deserves an S tier because of how strong the cold infliction skill is, and then you get a nuke that eats the cold. Just very, very good. And the harm damage, reduced harm damage, is basically a cherry on top against, you know, some specialized bosses. So overall, very good weapon. Next up, we have Akrilov. This is also recently updated, not too long ago. Aquilov's Hatred, 0 proc weapon, compress a fully offensive fire armor. First one, okay, so you have your, instead of overcharge skills, now it's more efficient. Instead of you know, dumping everything to boost the damage, you instead use your Mastercraft and all that kind of stuff to reduce the SP cost, which actually is a buff in today's meta because of the damage caps. You can't hit that high damage anyway, so reducing the SP cost is actually makes this better. But you know, I got this mainly for the huge damage. Now you can't see as large damage as you used to, so that's a bit of a bummer for me personally. But I think this is still a very, very good armor. It's also 4 hits for the skill, so for this alone, I think is it deserving of an A tier? No, I think it's a B tier. Yeah, it's a B tier. It's pretty good, but not top tier in my opinion. Celestial Void Forge package. Okay, this is another recent package. I also did buy this to review quite recently. So this does a bunch of stuff. Okay, the weapon can poison, deals harm damage. You can imbue to poison your foes and make it deal random damage. And then for the shield, you can eat the poison to make you deal void damage. And I think it's a hefty cost to pay for the void damage, and I'm not a fan of void damage because of all the silly restrictions, and I think it's highly overrated. But I've seen Brady Simmons showcase videos, and I think he has made this work very well. So you can go ahead and check out his channel if you guys want to see how to use this package to its fullest. I think it's a very I still think it's a very good package. Yeah, for void damage, if you couple it with the poison, it's pretty nice. Is it deserving of S tier? I don't think so, but it's definitely high A tier for me. Alright. Next up, what is this? Entropy package. Yeah, another new package recently. Okay, this actually looks good on paper, but when you test it out, it's utter crap. Okay, I did a testing video on the package as well. I also did buy this recently. The weapon comes with a energy weapon based skill. Only 2 hits, unfortunately. You give yourself an eddy and power effect before the skill deals damage, which is nice. If the monster is affected by the cold, you get a energy, harm and void, eddy and power for 2 turns. If it's not affected by the cold, you get a smaller eddy and power for 2 turns. Okay. When in the armor, clicking on the weapon automatically. Oh, okay, fine, never mind. So yeah, only 2 hits is not very good. The armor is a fully offensive energy armor. Comes with 3 skills. First skill, energy weapon based skill. It deals reduced damage and attempts to inflict permanent -6 BTH and -6 MRM cold status, and you can only stack this to a maximum of -30, which is not a lot if you ask me. And because of how slow the stacking is, you take 5 turns to stack this, and all of the cold statuses are all renamed differently inside of the game. So no, you can't cheese this by using your devouring scythe to inflict and then, you know, go ahead and try and get this to a max stack straight up. Alright, so yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, once you have a max stack of -30 BTH and -30 MRM, okay, which is 5 successful inflictions, it instead deals void damage. So this is another form of void damage, but even if you use this with celerity, minimum you can only unlock the void damage on the 3rd turn, and that is assuming you manage to successfully inflict your BTH and MRM every single turn. Okay, so it's really not that fantastic. Second skill, Meteor Strike, overcharge energy weapon based skill, deals extra 50% damage. Elicon reduces the SP cost, and if the monster is affected by any form of the cold, you deal extra bonus damage. So you can technically use the Devouring Scythe's skill to stack your cold status higher, and then use the nuke skill from here. But you know, the fact that you have to get 2 packages just to do this, not worth it in my opinion. And then last but not least, the last skill is a toggle. You pay 98 SP per turn to gain 6 MRM as well as a -15 BTH Lean Berserk, and deal harm damage every time you block an attack. So a little bit of a dodge dash here, which kind of has synergy with the cold status because you are reducing the monster's BTH. And if you use with the weapon and the shield, okay, you instead deal more harm damage when you block. The shield gives you 20 cold potents. So the only good item out of this whole set in my opinion is the shield for the cold potents, and you're really going to want to use the shield with another package item from here. So yeah, for the price point, it's not useless, but C tier. Yeah, just very, very bad. Arms of Carnax, another package that I recently bought and reviewed. Okay, so this one gives you a pretty, it has synergy. Every single part of the set has synergy, and I love it. So the weapon has a built-in skill, attempts to inflict energy ally round for 3 turns. Okay, it compresses a fully offensive energy armor and fire secondary. Has 2 skills. First skill, energy spell type skill. Follow weapon damage type, deals half damage to inflict energy burn. The burn heals your SP equals to the true damage dealt. And then the third skill is a energy spell type skill, follow weapon damage type, causes no SP and Elicom increase skill damage, deals reduced damage to gain a chi shield. So what you will do here is you will inflict ally bound with the weapon skill, and then you'll do the burn skill to heal your SP, and then you'll do the chi shield skill. Okay, coupled with the SP heal, you are basically taking reduced damage as well. So overall, very good set, and the heal is actually pretty crazy. So do not underestimate this package. I think, does this deserve an S? I think this might deserve an S tier. Yeah, I think this package deserves an S tier. Based off my own personal testing, I think it's really very good. Okay, it is a little bit buggy from what I've been hearing and from my own testing. So that's also something to keep in mind. But I assume that it would eventually get fixed. So whether or not it's buggy, it's a very good package nonetheless. Definitely worth picking up. Alright, now for the most expensive packages. The $100 packages. Alright. First up, we have the Arena's Armory. Okay, so the weapon deals extra 5% damage, nothing special. Attempt to inflict a wind burn. Okay, and the power is based on lucky strikes over attempts. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, but still crap. Weapon fully offensive wind armor, comes with a wind spell type skill, deals either range or magic damage. And full set bonus, the skill will attempt to inflict a minus 23 times minus 23 dex off balance effect for 9999 turns, which is basically a permanent effect. Minus 20 save bonus, but dexterity does nothing for monsters nowadays, so this is pretty much useless. And the shield is a wind shield, gain 6 MRM versus flying enemies. Garbage. Next up, Broom Strider. One of the latest packages, have not gotten this yet. First up, you get an armor, Mastercraft Spellcaster Wind Armor. You pay 9 MRM after using a weapon attack. You gain 39 MP per hit, capped at 4 hits. Yeah, the MP heal is insignificant. The skill, it has 2 skills as well. Okay, first one is an overcharged wind spell, Elicom increase spell damage, and the second one, Mana Siphon, is an overcharged wind spell, deals extra 25% damage, and attempts to inflict a power 2.5 wind poison for 4 turns, and the poison heals your MP equal to 1.5 times of the true damage dealt. Yep, the armor is crap. And then for the spell, is a compressed overcharged Mastercraft wind spell, deals extra 25% damage, and you can choose between 2 spells on casting. First one deals reduced damage, applies a 4 turn plus 30% wind ally and power before dealing the damage. And the second one deals minus 56% damage and attempts to inflict a permanent plus 5 times hits % wind ally bound. So this is a permanent effect. And even though it's only specific to wind, I think the best part of this package is definitely the spell. And when cast in Broom Strider, the Elicom increases damage dealt from the spell. Okay, but it's a single spell worth $100. My answer to that is a hell no. I think the armor could definitely be better, but if you really want to get this package, the only reason to get it is for the spell. I think the spell is good, but $100 for a spell, I can't justify that, so only C tier. Man, they really need to buck up on the armor. Next up, Champion of Aquila, basically the same as Arena's Armory, but instead of the off balance, you get death loss from the weapon. And for the armor skill, you attempt to inflict permanent fire burn instead of negative dexterity. Fire burn is actually better in my opinion, but it's a pretty weak burn because it's a permanent burn, so don't expect too much. And the shield, if a hit was blocked, has a 42.1% chance to inflict a 100% control effect for 1 turn. This would have been great back in the day, but right now, you know, with all the with all the freedom statuses, not that great. So again, another D tier package. Next up, Champion of Castle Silva, again another clone. Okay, the weapon, okay, each turn the enemy, the weapon is based off charges. Each turn the enemy has their dexterity lowered via a status, whether it's numb, off balance, or entangled. You gain a variable amount of charges. Okay, so the more pieces you have, the more charges it gains, and it gains extra 2% damage for each charge accumulated. The armor is a fully offensive earth armor, water and light secondaries. Comes with a weapon based skill, Helicon reduce SP cost, and full set bonus. you unlock a second skill which inflicts a permanent entangle effect for 9999 turns. Okay, crap. The shield gains 1.2 MRM for each charge accumulated. This is also garbage. Okay, next up we have Doomlight. Okay, Doomlight in my opinion is a very niche playstyle, the backlash playstyle, and I'm sure many of you guys have already heard of this super powerful playstyle. Now some assholes are asking for it to be nerfed. I do not think they should touch a $100 package because this is a hell of a lot of money, and some people have like a full collection of Doomlights. Okay, the only one that's available all year round is the fire version, but you already have a lot of good fire armors. So if you ask me for which Doomlight to pick up, I would say wait for Black Friday. The other elemental variants might return, and then I would say pick up the energy one. That's probably the best one. It's also the one that I personally picked up because you can use it to farm Fruitcake Zard. Not to say the other elements are bad, it's just that the other elements have stiff competition as well. Okay, so what you do for Backlash playstyle is you want to train endurance, and it's one of the few builds at endgame whereby it actually requires endurance for it to work. So depending on how much damage the monster deals to you, you will reflect that damage back. So the more damage the monster does to you, the more damage you'll deal back to the monster. Okay, so this is actually very good for one hit KO strats. If you want to increase your resistances to stupid high amounts. The caveat is that it's a high risk, high reward playstyle. If you die and the monster die at the same time, you lose the battle. So just something to keep in mind. You also need to control your damage that you take very carefully, because there's a high chance that you can get one-shotted inside of this, or using this particular playstyle if you're not being careful. Nonetheless, still a top tier playstyle, definitely S tier. Next up, King's Reign set. Okay, King's Reign set. Weapon has a small chance to paralyze. The armor, fully offensive energy armor, plus 5% damage. When you use the weapon and shield, damage bonus is tripled to 15%. And the shield, incoming attacks have a 25% chance to lose 12 BTH. Oh my god, so bad. Light Realm Armory. Weapon, after blocking, you deal extra damage. Okay, monster did not attack, deals extra 5% damage. So yeah, dodge slash effect on the weapon. The armor, Mastercraft fully offensive light armor, has a light weapon based skill, and then when used with weapon and shield, unlocks a second skill that inflicts a permanent blind effect. Okay, the blind effect is also quite weak, but because it's permanent, so the more you stack it, the better it's going to become. Nonetheless, I still think it's crap, so yeah. The shield, after blocking, reduce damage taken next turn. If monster did not attack, reduce damage taken by 3.57%. Okay, if you block all attacks, you reduce damage taken by 23.81% on the next turn. But here's the thing, if you're playing dodge, this does nothing for you, and if you're not playing dodge, then you're not getting the full effect of the damage reduction. So yeah, overall not a lot of good synergy in the set, and D tier. Right, Sinmore Armory, Mastercraft Energy set. The weapon, after attacking, you gain some BTH for it's a permanent BTH boost. Unfortunately, it's only capped at 8. What the hell were they thinking? 8, capping it at 8. Oh my god, that's just garbage. Okay, the armor is a fully offensive energy slash water armor. All attacks in this armor have a small chance to paralyze. And with the weapon and shield, you unlock a new skill that inflicts a permanent energy ally bound. This again, very small value. Okay, and the shield toggles between energy and water. Yep, no good. Next up, Umbra Walker of Time. Okay, so this is one of the more recent packages, and it's actually a clone of the Shadow Walker of Time Hero Mart exclusive calendar item, because so many people liked it. Okay, it comes with 2 skills. Okay, so it's a fully offensive darkness armor. First skill is an overcharged darkness spell type skill, deals extra 50% damage, follow weapon damage type. But rather than paying extra SP, you have a small chance of giving the enemy extras an extra turn, basically giving the enemy celerity. Okay, this skill does deal a lot of damage, so that's something to keep in mind, but it's not really used or bought for this skill. It's more useful for its second skill, which is Sands of the Hourglass. Deals no damage, but attempts to inflict minus 33 endurance fragile effect, and this is permanent. Also has a minus 20 save bonus, and is skills based off your main stat, inflicts using your main stat versus monsters endurance overlap. Multiple users will increase fragile by an additional minus 33 endurance. So this is a great way of overcoming damage caps, and it's really very good. And when used with the weapon and shield of the set, you gain 4 melee and range blocking. The shield, each time you block an attack, it attempts to inflict bleed. Okay, the set doesn't really have great synergy by itself, but the armor, man, the armor is just so good with the permanent fragile effect. Is this going to be S tier? Yeah, because of its very unique ability to reduce enemies' endurance that's permanent, and no other armor or skill in the game does this. You have Decimator, you have Shinyaro, but that's like one turn, a couple turns, but none is permanent. And you can stack this, so you can just, you know, overcome damage caps very easily. And I think this is really, really worth, it's really a top tier package in my opinion. Next up, we have your, what do you call it? Terrasu, okay, Terrasu Armory or whatever this is. Yeah, okay, so the weapon deals extra 10% damage if the monster is greater than 0 endurance. Crap. Armor, fully offensive ice armor, has an efficient ice weapon based skill, and if used with the weapon and the shield, you can attempt to inflict a permanent ice burn on the enemy. Okay, the ice shield compress is this ice shield is actually pretty good because it defends against fire as well, and it compress is skill that provides 1 turn of freeze immunity. I can't really think of any enemy that actually uses freeze immunity, that actually uses freeze, sorry, except for the Draconan monster, Frostveil boss, that came out, I think around the same time that this package came out, many years ago. I think it was 2012 or something like that. I don't even know that if there's a painting available to visit that, but yeah, almost no monsters inflict freeze on you, so not very useful nowadays. The efficient skill is quite nice back in the day, but nowadays I think it's not that great, so D tier. Alright, now 100k Z token package with no item. I do not understand why anyone would pick this up. I think this was before 200k came out. So yeah, if you can afford to spend 100k, I would say just go for the 200k instead. Okay, so D tier because 200k exists. So for 200k, I think this is actually A tier. It doesn't give any items, but it is the single package that gives the most amount of tokens inside of the whole game. And if you're a huge whale going for the donation contest, you already have all of the other good items that you need, then you can consider picking this up. 250 bucks for 200k Z tokens without a sale. With a sale, this gets even better. So yeah, you want to get the most tokens out of your money's worth, then pick this package up. Alright, but for the regular player, I would say pick up the other package items first before you consider getting this. Alright, custom title. This actually does nothing, just fancy stuff. For your character page for 35 bucks, okay, assuming people even look at character pages nowadays. And then next up, custom player face, $200 package that comes with 150,000 Z tokens, and you get to work with the staff on a custom face of your choosing. Okay, again, this is purely cosmetic, so I can only give it D tier. But for people who want the cool factor, who really wants something that they can call their own, then this is great. And you can make your faces animated as well. A lot of big whales have gotten this package purely for the flex to get their own custom face. But does it serve any real purpose? No, it doesn't. Starter pack gives you a whole bunch of stuff, which is not great at all. So yeah, for 2,500 tokens, no, not worth at all. Right, next up we have the 600 Z token package for $2.50. This is the cheapest Z token package, and the only reason why this is useful is because it is the cheapest way to reset your caps daily. So for people who are grinding out wall waves, or you know, contest is coming up, you want to max out your goal, or you know, you don't want to wait until tomorrow before maxing out, before leveling up again, you can go ahead and buy this package just to reset your cap. It's the cheapest way to do so, and that's really the only purpose for this package in my opinion, is to reset caps, and it's a very cheap way to do so. So I'm going to give it C tier. Okay, for the 1,200 Z token package, there's no point in getting this. It's double the price of this, and yeah, why would you pick this over the other packages with items? And if you just want to reset caps, just pick the cheapest one. Right, so after a bit of thinking, I think El Muchacho gets a B tier instead of an A tier. Yeah, I don't think it's quite an A. Okay, despite it being able to do numerous things, it's not really good at any of those things. So I think that's pretty much it. My final tier list for all the Z token package items. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And I hope this video is helpful for all you new and returning players looking to pick up packages. I also highly recommend you guys to pick up packages only when there's a sale going on. The next sale should come in December, if not earlier, but latest I think it will come by December. Okay, it's probably going to be another 35% sale, but we have seen 50% sales before. Those are usually quite rare, and they usually happen around the start of the year, I think, or during spring. So if you don't have like a big need for Z tokens, you can probably wait until we see a 50% sale before buying. But otherwise, yeah, this is my tier list. Alright, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and of course subscribe to this channel if you guys would like to see more of such future content. Till the next time, I'm your host Korban Gaming. Peace out.